In late May, I was looking on the internet and found a protest Antifa was putting together, calling for the removal of the Sam Houston statue. And the first thought that went through my mind was, why Sam Houston? The two event pages on Facebook got bigger and bigger. The more I began to look at it, the more I began to realize that there was a scam going on. And when they finally hit the point that there was 2,000 or 3,000 people going to be at this event, and this many people with this many opinions, called my crew together and we went down to see it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today is June 10th, 2017. We are just about half a mile from the Sam Houston statue, and we've got no idea what we're going to run across today. It's all kind of rumors, all kinds of crazy stuff, so let's go down here and see if any of the bullshit is true.
We can I'm going back to the truck. I'm grabbing my flag. I'm grabbing my flag.
So the first thing we saw when we walked up was a group of people with Confederate flags. It looked like about 14 people. There were already about 600 regular protesters there that were open carry patriots. The Confederate people were being forced out. One of the most obvious things that we noticed was there was a core of about 500 of the patriots of the This Is Texas, part of the 3 percenters, that were highly organized.
Security team or medic team. We're going to be meeting shortly. I'm just waiting for some more leads to show up.
This whole country is in turmoil. They're going to be glad to see the people flying these flags. Here we are with all of our Confederate flags and the American flags. In my opinion, I wouldn't bring the American flag to a Confederate flag rally. That's like bringing the murderer to his victim's funeral.
After about an hour and a half, 2 hours of standing around, getting to know people, shaking hands, a small group of people came marching up from the south. 15, maybe 20 minutes after the white separatist vanguard movement was ejected from the protest and told to go stand with the Confederate flags, this happened.
Let's go.
Now, right now, or we get the cops. Right now, or we get the cops. Pick up your shit. Go. Right now. Right now. By now, I mean right now.
Guys, you gotta go, man.
Son, you're leaving here one way or another. Right now. How do you that we can help you? Let him go. We'll take care of it. Take care of it.
Motherfucker.
Hey, where's his damn poster? Get that shit out of here.
Can you tell me what just happened over there with the white supremacists?
With this kid?
Yeah.
Well, in plain English, we had a jackass start acting like one, and we removed him.
We met up with the guys coming out of Dallas. We all joined together. You know, we never discriminate against anybody. We're all brotherhood and sisterhood. We stick together, we ride together, and we support the state of Texas.
This is about Texas and Texas freedoms here.
Like, have we given a vibe of like, oh yeah, let me tell you where the fuck I work?
No.
So like, if you were smart though, like you would have made those questions without fucking guns. Like when you walk past us without a fucking gun, maybe you could have like made some questions like that. But the moment you fucking come in here trying to
we recognize that shit, we're not gonna answer any stupid fucking questions.
So it's not done yet, probably. Just stay on
Yeah, point it this way.
What's up?
I said, yeah, point it this way. Give them a break. You're doing what I'm saying. I wanted you to point it this way. And if I got behind your fat ass, you turn around.
Why don't you and I just throw hands? Why don't you put that shit outside? Why don't you put it down? You and I throw hands.
You can't abandon it.
We're about the same size. Come on. You want some pussy shit? Is
Tigers, real tigers.
that right?
But in the end, they changed into paper tigers, dead tigers, being
Pinche culo, güey.
These are
Eso eres, güey. Eres un puto culo, güey.
Have people not
¿Qué
seen
entiendes,
or heard
pendejo? Si no
about these
entiendes,
facts?
güey.
There have been thousands and
Eres un
thousands and
puto culo.
thousands of them. Thousands and tens of thousands.
Muy verga con la pistola, puto.
And all reactionaries
Si la
looked at in
pistola, güey,
essence,
eres culo.
from a long-term point of view, from a strategic point of view,
I feel verbally
must be
abused.
seen for what they
I don't
are.
know anything he's talking to me.
Paper tigers.
But that's the problem with learning fucking
On
Russian.
this, we
You don't
should
fucking
build
know
our
what the fuck
strategic thinking.
anybody's saying except for Russian.
On the other hand, there are also living tigers. Iron tigers, real tigers, which can devour the people. On this, we should build our tactical thinking. And all their running dogs. People of the world, be courageous. Dare to fight, defy difficulties, and advance wave upon wave. Then the whole world will belong to the people. Monsters of all kinds shall be destroyed.
Why don't we start out with you telling me who you are and what you do?
My name is Robin Witt, and I'm here to talk about my experience at Charlottesville, Virginia.
Why don't you begin with the timeline of those events?
Probably the most memorable on the timeline is getting the actual phone call saying that if I come as an independent, unbiased photographer, I jumped on the opportunity to get there. And I support the statues to be saved, and that was one of my main reasons to be there, to be able to photograph the statue if and whenever it happens.
Are you at liberty to say who hired you to go down there?
It was Matthew Heimbach with the Traditional Workers' Party.
For those not familiar, what is the Traditional Workers' Party?
The Traditional Workers' Party is a National Socialist group here in America. It's gotten pretty bad rep through the media, and but the leader, Matthew Heimbach, is probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. But there's a lot of talk of they're a white supremacist group. White nationalism and white supremacy are two totally separate ideologies. And but yes, I came in with the intentions of being able to be a photographer for the Unite the Right event under the protection of the TWP.
What's the difference between white supremacy and the organization that you went down there to represent?
White supremacy is mainly an ideology that whites are the supreme being, as compared to white nationalism is focusing on having a nation set up or a community set up for people of their heritage and culture, and that's what National Socialism is based around. It doesn't matter what your race is or what your culture is. If you have the setup of nationalism, of National Socialism, it centers around the culture of those people, like in Israel, where they have a pretty, nationalist system. It's for, the Jewish people, and that's the way. So it can be used in any race, creed, or color.
Would you find that would be something that would work well in a melting pot of America?
For those people that believe in National Socialism or white nationalism, it would be a long road to create a setup for people. But there's really no place for white nationalists to opt out right now. If somebody said, I want to opt out today, but even if a group of Black Panthers said, we're going to set up a nationalist state, we want to opt out. In America, there's really, no place to do that.
Well, let's go back to Charlottesville then, because that's really what brought you to social media attention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really came to the forefront, and it was frankly explosive when you were found to be in that Vice video. Why don't you tell me about that day?
The further back towards the statue you were, the more media you're going to see, the more people that aren't there to really harm anybody got pushed back to, you know, the core of the statue or of the park. Immediately, we were confronted, counter-protesters, and the only way to get there was to pretty much break their arm links. Once we broke free of the arm barrier, and I passed through with no problem. Obviously, I'm carrying a large camera around my neck. I'm not looking for a fight. I'm here to do a job. And they let me pass through immediately. I was wearing protective gear, as I think if you didn't wear protective gear, you were a moron. When the Unite the Right attendees came, they did come with shields, they came with helmets, they came with goggles, because they knew how Antifa reacts. They're reactionary. Like, they just, you know, they come with mace, they come looking for a fight. I didn't see one attendee carrying any sort of weapon at all. And if they were concealing it from me, and I was standing right next to them. There was nobody marching. This wasn't a march. This wasn't some sort of parade to get to the statue. This was let's form a single line and stay together to get to the statue, because they knew there was going to be retaliation.
What else did you want to share about your experience or your thoughts or what you went through?
Freedom of speech comes with consequences, and everybody knows that. And I think that's how my doxing happened. People automatically assumed whatever beliefs I had without asking me why I was there in the first place. Regardless of my political beliefs, I was to do something photography-wise. Would have been an amazing event to capture, and a historical event. And even though, you know, it became a historical event for the wrong reasons, it would have been amazing to capture on film for the right reasons.
What would you say to those that have an incredible amount of anger towards you because of their assumptions, their interpretation of action? If there's something you could share with them to make it very clear, what would you tell them? I would tell them that, you know, if they were at any point my friend at all, they would have come to me first and asked me, instead of insinuating rubbish. It shows their ignorance, and it really showed their childless actions. And I was obviously standing with a camera, and they were calling me that I was there to start a fight. And I'm 4'9" and 85 pounds, carrying around a $600 camera. Yeah, I came there to start a fight. I came there to be aggressive.
If you're planning on speaking, we need you to fill out a form. The forms are going to be upstairs on the table.
Si quieren hablar, hay una forma que se tiene que llenar, así que está la forma aquí arriba.
First name, and you want to speak on the 287G, that's it.
Basically here to keep the peace with innocent bystanders and whatnot.
Everybody's interested in peace here.
It's always good to have a good patriot on your side, you know what I mean? So we brought a crew over.
We don't really take a side on certain things unless we are told to. We actually, our founder is actually in Georgia. General Blood Agent is actually our founder, and we take orders from him. He's the one that issues that if we need to take care of stuff. But even still, we are only defensive. We don't take an offensive posture for anything.
No
Kundu, show me your papers laws like SB4. We support what is right, just, and fair. I invite all to get connected to organizations that can power you like any represented here today. Reach out, educate yourself, be active in the community. This is the time of the human rights movement. This is our time.
We are not for dividing families in this country. I think we have a great democracy in our country. People come here yearning for that American dream, and hopefully they'll be able to get it. Maybe not all of them, but most of them will. Let me just say that 287G, while it appears on the surface to be something that is going to be helpful, in reality, we know that the history of 287G, particularly in Arizona and in Irving, right next door, we know that when they said they were only going to remove criminal people that were here, or criminals that were here, or those immigrants that were creating crime, that's what's going to be removed. In reality, all the studies indicate that many of the people that got stopped for driving without a license or without insurance, or maybe ran a stoplight, or taking their children to school, or the compas taking their friends to work, were stopped and actually were arrested and deported.
We have a lot of witnesses. We have a lot of people that can help in the criminal cases that are afraid to come forward and be the witnesses and to be able to help the cases that we're doing now, because they're afraid they come by to be a witness that they are going to be held.
I am preparing to head down to the anti-white supremacist rally. Just heard from a very reliable source about a half hour ago that the neo-Nazis have just appeared. There's some sightings that have occurred, and I'm ready. I got my body armor, I got my helmet, I got my gear, ready to head down there. Let's fucking do it.
Teach your kids better than this. Y'all got to stand up, break this curse, shake it off.
I don't think this is an anti-white supremacist rally. I think it's an anti-Trump rally. They can call it whatever they want. They want to come take down Confederate statues. Where does that stop if they take down a Confederate statue? Next, are they going to get rid of anything by people who own slaves? Like, should we get rid of the Constitution because it was written by Jefferson? Is that next?
I'm speaking from the heart. Why? Because I believe in God. I believe in love. I believe what it's going to take. This mess of racism, all this stuff is not to be going on. We weren't raised for that. And we need to realize that we weren't raised for that.
Skinheads and Klansmen are terrorists. There's no good Nazis unless they're dead. There's no good Klansmen unless they are deceased. And we should be a united country by now, but we're still fighting childishness. And these people want to re-erect the debt. And that's real heroes in the VA hospital they can represent. But that's their issue. But they're terrorists. As a soldier in 82nd, that's my job, to deal and kill terrorists. The Constitution is in foreign as well as foreign enemies and domestic enemies. And they are domestic terrorists and are enemy to the United States and to the American people.
They are put up in the context of oppressing and deconstructing the Reconstruction. That's it. That's why they shoot.
Why they booed out?
Right.
Why they booed out?
Not at all.
During the Reconstruction, would you say that the South was poorly treated?
By who? By who? By the North. What do you mean by the North?
If they step out of line, I got the state troopers back. There's no greater love to give your life for someone you love. Airborne.
Oh my God! Sir, this is how we stop this.
I am being set
Sir,
up.
this is how we stop this.
What are we doing?
To solve a problem
that you agree with freedom of speech? I mean, I believe in freedom of speech. Do you believe in freedom of speech?
I believe in freedom of speech.
Hey, freedom of speech. Everybody should be able to take an opinion.
Hey, can I give you a hug? Can I give you a hug? Oh, okay.
I'll shoot you.
Okay, all right.
How about the flag you're wearing? I'm not familiar with that. It's a what?
Take a stand.
Oh, what's that?
It is a country of oppressed people who are fighting for free speech.
I'm not familiar with that country.
It's on the internet.
It's what?
It's on the internet. It's a digital country.
Yes,
I would take an ass whooping for free speech.
Probably going to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's the way you're going to do things, is get violent? Is that the way to get things done?
That's the way it go, though.
That's the way it goes. Violence all too.
You're wearing a fucking flag based on a Nazi flag. That's how America started. The Lost Tea Party was not fuck you.
I got 210 rounds. Let the first brave one come up here. They're going to be joining their comrades in the cemetery. They're terrorists, and the Supreme Court, and I don't care what anything, would not support hate groups and terrorists. That's 300 years of terror from the Ku Klux Klan. Look at World War II. Nazis never criminals. So I stand for the United States military, the Constitution. Terrorists must be eliminated and put to death.
We're part of the punk community of Dallas, and we're gonna have a lot of friends here. We're gonna have a lot of people part of our subculture and community, and we're here to stand for what we believe in. And we want to represent punk rock being a part of anti-racism and anti-white supremacy. The cemetery? Yeah, we were over there earlier. Just parked and checked it out.
Long story short, they coming down. We're going. You have all types of feedback. They coming down. They coming down. That is a reminder of history that we don't want to be a part of. They coming down.
Do you understand that they lost?
We're asking questions. We're actually videoing.
I will sing with you, my love. I'll smile.
That bad, you have to take it down. Like, what's that? Put it somewhere else. Who gives a fuck? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't give a fuck what you do with it. So then, you do give a fuck. Well, yeah, take it out. No, right. But afterwards, yes, of course, take it out. Yeah, no, whatever you want to fucking do it. You said that to get off, and you walked right through it.
No, sir.
Yeah, you did. I watched it. No, I watched you walk right by.
So I'm sorry, sir.
You walked right across.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Don't you think that's hypocritical?
Of course it's hypocritical. Because they can do anything they want without consequence.
Antifa?
We got two camps. We got one in front of City Hall, and all 100% supporters of, you can hear them, against white nationalism. On the other side, you got a few people, and then you got people that are just there for security that probably intimidate some people because of their gear. I only saw one person with a weapon. But yeah, so far everything is pretty cool. I'm about to head over back to City Hall and see if I can get more footage.
Yeah, like I said, I dig your side, but I think it might be a bit too opening for some traffic.
Cops and Klan go hand in hand. Cops and Klan go hand in hand. Cops and Klan go hand in hand.
Put the fucking camera down. This ain't about the news, motherfucker. It's about changing shit. I know you ain't gonna do shit. You're trying to do it. Tell me what you think.
Nazi scum! 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 Fuck you, fucking Nazi!
Don't you fucking touch it, dude! Don't you fucking touch it! Don't you fucking touch it! He fucking touched it!
Man, I'm a Crip nigga, 187 gangster, man. Hard real, nigga. What's cracking, man? Say, man, we ain't finna tear them bitches down right now for what? We make sure that people do it in peace, man, like Martin Luther King, man. Say, man, hold on. I was born in America.
Fuck America!
I am not black. I am not white. I am American. Shut the fuck up, nigga.
Who are you doing the interview for?
totally independent. I'm a filmmaker and photographer. I just opened my own studio in Irving. Jennifer reached out to me because she knows how I'm totally unbiased. I mean, I've covered things I'm for, things I'm against, things I just stay out of the picture, and I just want people to tell their stories. Like Michael Moore, to me, is the Antichrist because...
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
His shady editing. I mean, as a filmmaker, you can just see the editing techniques.
The famous people and stuff like that, they're able to have a voice.
Right.
You're not able to have a voice if you're not rich and in front of a camera all day. Be on a Saturday would probably be best.
Perfect. That would probably be best for me, too.
All right. Well, I'll see you on the 25th.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care. All right. Thanks.
You take the high road and I'll take the low road. We'll meet in the middle, Australia, Botswana, and the flesh parts again, from the cradle to the end. Andes Peaks, Euthanasia, Candelabra, Mount Zion.
My name is Buzz Turner. I'm a Grand Dragon of the Texas Terror Squad of the Ku Klux Klan, and I'm a white nationalist, a racialist.
My name is Scott Lacey. I'm a ranking member of the Aryan Renaissance Society. I'm a white nationalist and a race realist.
I'm Tom Stanfield. I'm a prospective member for the ARS. I'm also a white nationalist.
Aryan Renaissance Society, I mean, it's pretty well known, especially in recent years. We've been the main ones behind all the White Lives Matter rallies, the ones that are mostly here in Texas, the one that was held in front of the NAACP last year, in front of the ADL offices in Houston, at the state capitol last year.
So with each of your positions in each of your organizations, what are your responsibilities?
A lot of protests, getting the word out, living to 14, raising our kids right, working every day. It's got a lot to do with what's going on, you know, making sure people are aware of what's going on, what Zog is doing, what Antifa is doing. Basically it, getting ready for the war.
When you picture your enemy in your mind, who or what is that enemy?
The media.
Liberalism.
Jews.
Would you say that your realization, your understanding of race and society, would you say that that has come from a scientific analysis, or would you say it's more sociological?
It's a proven fact that niggers can't live with people. I mean, look what they do every day in society. They cannot live in a normal society. And they can't take responsibility for their own actions.
I'm a naturalist. I believe in the natural order of things, and nature proves everything. And the fact is that you can look around you and see the truth. You know, you can go. There is scientific, you know, facts, statistics, and everything else that can prove every one of my points, or my beliefs. But nobody should need those, because the truth is evident to anybody that's willing to look at it. That's why I say liberalism is the problem, because our country used to not be liberal. Our people didn't used to be liberal. Nowadays, I mean, liberalism has gotten into our culture. It's become, everybody thinks that we're supposed to all get along and have this big melting pot and all of that. It's never worked throughout history, and it's not going to work now. You know?
Well, look what's going on in Europe with the Muslim no-go zones. You know, you can't go into a certain neighborhood unless you're Muslim, or they'll destroy your car or try to kill you.
Same thing here with the black neighborhoods. If a white man goes in a black neighborhood, you pretty much get chased out, robbed, raped, killed, whatever. I mean, they have that here, but it's not.
By the didn't do nothings.
Yeah, the didn't do's.
Your viewpoints, did they come gradually, or was it more of an aha moment?
Since I was a kid, I knew something was wrong. It took me a while to say, fuck it, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to, you know, I want to do something against this. That's where mine came into view.
Is your family, your parents, did they share the views, or did you keep it private?
No, I didn't keep it private. I just didn't have a way when I was younger to express. I didn't know how to express my views.
And you felt through through your viewpoints that you've established now today, that's the culmination, where you found your voice.
Yeah, and I'm not scared to tell anybody that I'm racist.
Right.
Problem is, most people in America, we become a nation of cowards. What it is, people are scared of being labeled many things, but a racist is one of the main, the taboos that you can be called. The problem is, what is racism? Racism is a racial ideology, a racial belief. Any racial belief that you have makes you a racist. If you love your own people, you're a racist. If you hate somebody else, you're a racist. Problem is, everybody thinks that only people that can be racist in America anymore are white folks, and it has to be because we hate other people. I don't hate anybody, unless I'm given a reason to hate
We're
them.
not the ones with BET TV and black college funds and black Academy Awards. We're not. If we had any of that, all hell would break loose.
Well, we wouldn't be able to.
But we're the ones funding all that.
Right. For them.
It's us that are working every day are the ones that are funding all their black this and black that. And the Mexican,
La Raza,
the Mexican
TV stations,
TVs
Telemundo, all that.
What would you say to someone that would possibly respond to that, saying that was necessary because of the history of the country itself, where they didn't previously have a voice because of segregation?
Okay.
Or
well, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How can they bring up history and reparations when they're trying to steal it and get it all away from us? Right. So they're trying to destroy our history, but yet they want reparations for history. I had nothing to do with that back then. I wish I did, but I had nothing to do with with what they want right now for what happened 100 years ago. Has nothing to do with us, but yet they're trying to take our history away from us. They teach the wrong history in school. They teach the wrong history. They want our kids to do essays on Martin Luther King, whatever you want to call him. Ain't nobody saying, hey, he was a member of the North American Communist Party. He cheated on his thesis in college and wrote someone else's thesis to graduate college.
Cheated on his wife.
No one ever said that when he got shot by the greatest man in the world, okay, James Earl Ray, no one ever said, hey, the reason why they didn't open the door for 2 hours because he had 2 white prostitutes in there. They're not going to put that. They don't want the kids to know all that.
To answer your question, though, I mean, how I would respond to somebody that I said that to, the fact is, my ancestors were slaves. All right, Irish slaves, other white. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought she was. Other whites here in America, they were enslaved by blacks. Where are their reparations?
43% of all slave owners were black.
The fact is, that was the way the world was then. For thousands of years, everybody from somewhere down the line has been enslaved, done wrong, had their lands taken from them, whatever you want. It's happened to everybody, every people.
Every country.
Every country. And so where are our reparations? Where's our voice? The fact is, we've become, like I was saying a minute ago, a country of liberal thought. You have to appease everybody else. One of my favorite sayings is, you don't have the right to not be offended. You understand? I mean, if the fact is, if you don't like what I got to say or what my beliefs are or whatever, then move on down the road. Right.
Just stop trying to push it down our throats.
Yeah, stop trying to make us do, follow your path.
Just like homosexuals or faggots and stuff like that, you're not going to push that down my kids' throats. That's not going to happen. They're not going to like them, just like I don't like them. I'm going to make sure of that.
To go back to the previous question, I know you'd answered my question about saying that it started in the 80s as a kid and things, but for you two gentlemen, the aha moment, or was it a gradual realization of race?
Mine was a gradual realization of race. I went to prison at a very young age, right? And it was, if nowhere else in the world, out here it's easier to not see the racial issues in America, especially like if you live in a country or whatever. But you go there, you're thrown into it, and you have, very little option but no option other either accept it or live in a fantasy world, Everybody wants to feel comfortable with the people they live around, and you only feel comfortable with people you can identify with.
Right.
I'm not going to go feel comfortable going into a black bar and hanging around with a bunch of black people, not because they're not culturally the same as I am. They have different ideologies, different way of looking at things. I'm not going to feel comfortable there. Just like they're not going to be able to come into my country bar and feel comfortable. People, it's natural for people to segregate and to seek their own kind.
And for you, was it gradual or was it more of a realization?
I've got to say, man, my heritage, Irish, of course, you know, they were slaves. Got over that, and I've got some Coon-ass heritage. My grandmother was adopted and all white, and she taught us from a very young age, you don't trust them. And she gave us reasons why not to. Father and my mother did the same things. We grew up in their areas. We went to school with them. We got our asses handed to us, our lunch money stolen, our bikes ripped off. In my personal racial views, I don't hate any race. I don't have time to hate somebody because they're black, or because they're a stick, or because they're a kike. I don't have time for that shit. I've got kids to raise. I've got a job to do. I have life. Now, if they do something directly to me, then that's different. But I do separate myself. I separate myself because I don't want the trouble, and I don't want my kids growing up seeing that crap. I don't want my daughter being raped. It's just things that I don't want to happen, so I avoid it. I raise them the way I was raised. I teach them the things I was taught. It's real simple. You keep them away from that shit. If they don't have to experience it, which they do in school every day, public school, is shoved down their throat. This is what you have to believe. And my hard heads out here to keep hollering, they're the first one to say, oh no, that's not what my daddy said. And they'll give them facts.
I'm a naturalized Klansman.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it.
And be that.
I'm not proud of the Klan, I'm proud of what I am.
What you are. Yeah.
I'm not proud of the Klan for what they've become.
You teach our kids, be proud to be white. Be proud of who you are.
In what way are you not proud of what the Klan has become?
The Klan has dropped a lot of what they were. A lot has to do with they're still set in the 1930s in some ways, and then in other ways they'll just take in anybody, you know. And a lot of those people, just the white people, become leeches and scumbags and people you don't want to be around. You know, it's hard for someone to set up a rally and say, hey, we're going to go to this rally, get everybody in your area to go. And you call everybody and say, hey, we're going to this big rally in Mississippi, and you get ready to go. And ain't nobody, well, we're working all week, or no, I ain't got the money to go, or yeah, I'll go if you're paying for everything. You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, that's not the way you're supposed to be living, for one. You know, for two, you can't make every rally out here because you got family to take care of and, you know, jobs to do. You know, and if you're not doing that and you're bugging everybody to take you somewhere, I'm just not doing it.
How about your religious beliefs?
I am a Christian. I'm a baptized Christian. That's what I always believe.
Does your Christian faith work in alignment with your racial views?
My relationship with Christ it has nothing to do with my racial views. There's a lot of unanswered questions I have in my religion. Okay, but I know that I need to raise my kids right. That's the way I raise my kids.
I consider myself an Odinist, but not necessarily for the spiritual. I mean, I don't necessarily believe that, you know, there's all these pantheon of gods and all that. But I believe it as part of my culture, my history, and my heritage, and I believe in honoring that. I believe in the natural order of things, and that's what Odinism is about to me.
I was raised Christian. Catholic most of my life, and converted to Baptist, and I'll tell you that was quite a culture shock. But currently, you know, I'm a naturalist. I support Odinism. I believe the same beliefs that they do, other than the demigods and all that stuff. I'm just kind of out there on that one.
I want people that see this to realize that the white movement, the white nationalist movement, is not a bunch of hillbillies, rednecks, and dope fiends and dope dealers and all of that. The nationalist movement is all about the betterment and advancement of our people, the love of our people. You know, it's about preserving our history and heritage and cultures. You know, because like I was saying a minute ago, if things keep going the way they're going in this country, it's not going to be a white country anymore. And it was at one time. It was founded by whites. It was a white country. It's turning into Little Mexico. It's turning into Africa. It's turning into Indonesia. You know. And if we keep on going down the road we're going, people don't realize how bad it is in Europe for some of them white countries over there, how bad it is over there. That's happening. It's going to be happening here in the near future if people don't open their eyes and start being, because the average person has the same views we do. The average person isn't blind and stupid. They can see what's going on. They're just scared to be labeled, you know, a racist or a hater or whatever, you know, a bigot. What they need to do is stop being scared and stand on whatever you believe in.
Well, first of all, we must secure the existence of people and the future for white children. That's bottom line. And,
what's hateful about that?
That's where everybody calls us haters and Nazis. I mean, these are words of David Lane. Very good words, and I believe, you know, black people should do the same. We love their race. Don't hate us. I mean, we didn't own slaves. I'm pretty sure none of our parents owned slaves.
Good if we would.
Or grandparents. I really don't, man. I'm good. I'm good. I got dogs and kids. But that's what Scott said. That's what it breaks down to, man. Most people know what's going on. They're just scared. They won't say what's on their mind. They won't say what they're seeing, the truth.
Anybody that's conservative and is going to stand and fight, they don't want that. They want to mold people into a bunch of pussies, to be honest with you, that they can control and use. You know?
If the media didn't control it, then why would they say in their newscast, a black man killed a white man or a white man killed a black man? Why can't they just say a man killed a man? That's how they control it. They want you to be pissed off in the news. They
don't put the fact out there that I think it's 72% of all violent crimes in America are committed by non-whites against whites. Then all violent crimes, but
68% of all the violent crimes are committed by 13%
of the population.
Of the black population.
Right. The fact is, we're the ones that are being attacked on a daily basis, but you never hear about that in the news. You know, statistically, there's 0% of whites raping blacks in America over a 3-year period, but there's like 90 statistics. Yeah,
I don't know. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but I mean, but just the opposite is 98. I don't know. I forget the exact number, but there's multiple, you know, white women being raped every year by non-whites. You know, but if you let one white man go in a church and kill some people, which I don't condone. I don't believe we should just go out and start blowing people away. But I mean, that's
a purge would be nice.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it. The reason they want liberalism in America is because, they want the votes from the minorities, because, you know, I mean, that's why they pander to them, and then we're the only people that threaten them. You know, we're their only threat. And if they can dumb us down and turn us liberal, then we're not a threat anymore.
Most of us white folks that have this so-called white privilege,
worked
our butts off to own our own companies. That's our white privilege. We get to go up and go to work, get up and go to work every day.
And we work for our houses.
Yeah. We work, pay for our houses, pay for our kids' education, and for an old piece of shit used car that we drive back and forth to work.
This is white privilege.
Yeah, but you know, I do believe that there is such a thing as white privilege. You know why? Because whites busted their ass for years to build this system so they can hand it down to their people. You know what I mean? That's part of life. What they need to do is go out there and create the same thing for themselves. Quit being crybabies about it. Go out and work for it.
I would have loved you to bring John Wiley Price down here.
The average white person is passive. White people are naturally passive people. And when shit comes at us, we naturally, well, okay, we'll just go over here and avoid the shit. Well, see, now the shit's all around us everywhere we go. We can't avoid it. So what do? We come together as a people. White lives matter.
Murder. And they're doing it in the guise of helping. They're not. It's the same way that I wonder how medical doctors can be doing anything involved with abortion. How does that tie with the Hippocratic Oath? So, no, Planned Parenthood does not save life. They're here to take life. They pretend to offer all these other services, which they do not do, and many other organizations do, oftentimes for free. What we need to do is defund Planned Parenthood and take those $600 million a year and fund other organizations that truly do give benefits to the women.
Can't base it on religion because there are so many different religions with so many different beliefs that it really is a scientific issue. You know, people have this wrapped around notion that it's their body, their choice. Well, you can't carry a male baby and be a woman and carry a male baby and be the same body. Their founder, Margaret Sanger, said they don't want people, black people are weeds in the society. There's no difference between her beliefs then and Planned Parenthood's beliefs now. In fact, they prey on the minorities and the black and Hispanic women because they place themselves in neighborhoods like this where they're going to get the most business. It's all about the money. We don't need Planned Parenthood anymore, and their fallacy of that the 3% of their business is only 3% is abortion is a total fallacy, because it's based on their scientific what women come in for services for. I mean, how do you murder 330,000 babies a year and claim it's only 3% of your business? The math doesn't add up and math doesn't lie. When I was pregnant with my second daughter and the doctor had said, don't worry, I wanted and considered having an abortion. And so, you know, I mean, I speak from both sides. You know, it's not like I was born and raised in this movement. This was where I was on one side and totally made a flip because I realized the truth. You know, we're non-discriminatory. We think all life has value.
Early in December 2017, Trump announced that he acknowledged Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. This statement provoked mass rioting and even death throughout the Middle East. The response in Dallas was just as passionate but far less violent. A group of Palestinians gathered at Dealey Plaza in downtown Dallas to voice their opposition to his decision.
Palestine! Free, free, Palestine! Free, free, Palestine! Jerusalem! Free, free, Palestine! This is not acceptable! This is not acceptable!
And this is an amazing showing to say and keep the uprising going in the best, most peaceful way that we can. If you want to stay connected, we have reorganized to build a sustainable organization that will build power in Dallas-Fort Worth to consistently work for a pro-Palestine agenda. From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea! We want our land back! We want our land back! We want our land back!
Who believes in the strength of the struggle for Palestine and the dissolution of the oppressive apartheid state that is fueled by injustice, that is fueled by U.S. dollars, U.S. material, U.S. ammunition, and U.S.-funded arms. Trump's uneducated decision to support the transfer of Israel's embassy, U.S. embassy and capital to Jerusalem, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, should not be surprising. Yet again, maneuvers to displace, dehumanize, and continue unspeakable human rights abuses is not only supported by white supremacists in office, but businessmen who also profit from this. The fight for water being life, Black liberation, and LGBTQ liberation.
So which channel you are?
Sorry?
Which channel you are?
Independent press.
What is it?
Independent, like I'm not
Independent? Oh, okay. Thank you.
One of the guys already got my information.
I mean, that's the thing, right? You could just tell me, like, who you're associated with.
I'm not associated with anyone.
Oh,
This is a fake journalist or something like that. That's what that is.
Of course.
Oh, okay, well, fuck you. You know what? Kiss my ass. No, you're not my type. I like guys with hair.
Yeah, apparently your type's standing down there.
Yeah, 3%. Hey!
Right. So?
Big thumb-looking motherfuckers.
That's your opinion. I don't know the guy. I just walked by.
Of course.
Okay. Well, why don't you give him your ass hat so you can go and make a good film together?
Man, you guys are really good for the cause.
Go back to my racist state.
Go back to Europe.
Go back to Europe? And see, since I'm not from Europe, I can't do that.
Hey, how about
Yeah,
what happened to Hitler?
Right? You know what this is? This is from losing my hair. It's not my choice. It's by what happened. This is our American flag. This is what should bind us together.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah, it should bind all of us together. Many people have died protecting this flag.
Go home! Go home!
This should be the time to bind us all together.
Nazi, go home!
Yeah?
Nazi, go home!
You're holding it backwards.
Yeah.
Guys, just please, just ignore him.
It should. One guy. It should bind us all together.
Should be
That's what we hope too. That's what we hope too. Talk about why you're here today.
I'm here to protest Israel. And making
Israel entirely?
Yes, the apartheid state, the terrorist state of Israel, yes.
What would your ideal situation be with the Palestinian and Israeli?
One state, Palestine, their lands.
This guy's not actually a journalist, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just point it out.
Okay. Val, you can...
I believe in it all.
There you go, buddy.
I believe in it all.
There you go.
I believe in God. Because we all pray to one God.
Oh, yeah.
And the Bible says we all go by one God. So,
Free, free Palestine!
free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
This is not acceptable!
This is not acceptable!
Jerusalem the capital!
Jerusalem the capital!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
You've reached Kurtz Frausun at 214-883-3277. I'm not available to take the call, so leave your name and number after the tone, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.